Hey guys, welcome back to TechRadar, and today we're here to talk about the Samsung Galaxy S20. We're here with your questions, which you've sent us on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube, a variety of platforms, and you've been asking us about the Galaxy S20, the S20 Plus, and the S20 Ultra, and maybe a little bit about the brand new Z Flip as well. So we're going to dive straight in with one of your reader questions, which is, which phone do you like the most, Tom?
Of the series that they showed us on February 11th, I think I'm going to have to go with a wildcard answer straight away, the Z Flip.
What? Straight in with the Z Flip? Okay.
Straight in with it. Because
Why so?
Because the S20 series are just kind of incremental upgrades on the S10s. They're interesting, but they're also more of the same. But the Z Flip's really something quite different, completely different to the other Samsung phones. Also a little bit different to the Motorola Razr in the way it's tackling the same kind of questions. And it feels like a really sturdy device, like more than you'd expect a flip phone to be, with quite a few more interesting features than you'd expect a little flip phone to be as well. And I'm really excited to test it out more in the future.
Yeah, me too.
What about your choice for the most interesting, unless it's the same as mine?
Most interesting probably is the Z Flip for me.
Yeah. Which would you buy of these three phones?
Which would I buy? That's a completely different question. That is probably Galaxy S20 for me. I do think like the price to the features you're getting, that's probably the most logical one. It's probably the one I recommend that most people buy as well, between the S20 and the S20 Plus. Personally though, the Ultra is that kind of like top end spec phone, which is ridiculous really. Even on paper it looks ridiculous in terms of like 16 gigabytes of RAM. Why do you need that? But that's also sort of the one that I'm excited to try out and see where it goes.
Yeah, interested to see if all the specs line up and make it worth the incredible price tag.
And the 100 times zoom camera, which is just mental, really. Yeah. So someone did ask about the 100 times zoom question.
Segue beautifully into question two.
And then forgotten what the actual question was. Let me just get it up here. How good is the 108 megapixel camera on the Ultra?
Okay.
We've not really tried that all that much, have we? We've tried it a tiny bit. We've mostly tried it through the zoom quality stuff because our colleague in the US actually did our hands-on review of the Ultra. What do you think about the zoom?
The zoom was as ugly as you'd expect a 100 times zoom to be. It was horrible to look at the pictures, but you'd expect that because most people aren't going to use 100 times zoom. You're going to kind of use somewhere between that and 10 if you're using digital at all. Like I think it's more so it looks interesting on paper and so you can do a trick for your friends to show how zoomed it can be.
I think, it's that, isn't it? That's the reason you want to be using this feature, is it's that kind of feature that you want to show off to your friends. And like when they were doing the live stream at Samsung's event, they showed like them standing by San Francisco Bridge, by the Golden Gate Bridge, and then like shooting Alcatraz and that kind of thing. It's that kind of like really minor like scenario that never really comes up that it's exciting for, but in your everyday life, you're never really going to be using 100 times zoom, really.
What I have noticed, not with 100 times zooms, with other phones with kind of 50, 60 times zoom, you can sometimes use it to see better than your eye can.
Yeah.
So if you can't see something just because your eyesight's not that good, you can use this to kind of jump the distance a little bit. So there might be some accessibility reasons in the future, like some apps that can use it, which would be interesting to use, and it would be great if they can find some benefits of that aren't taking horrible pictures.
Definitely. So we had quite a few questions about the camera quality on the phone. So we had one from Rahul Nair 95, and he said, is the camera better than the Pixel 4? We have only tested these devices for a maximum of an hour, and we've only had a little bit of testing time with each of them, and we've used different devices personally, and our US colleagues have as well. What's your immediate thinking?
I guess better is quite a broad question, but one thing I really like about the Samsung phones and their cameras is that the UI is so easy to use.
Yeah.
Which I haven't tested the Pixel 4, I have the 3 and the 3A, and so the camera there is good, but I think Samsung kind of makes it really easy to take a great picture with its range of features on the app. So for you, just a normal person using the camera, it might be the better one for you, just 'cause it's so easy to take a good picture. At least that's my experience with the Samsung S10 series, and I'm sure they wouldn't change that for the S20s.
Definitely, and this year they brought in a new feature called Single Take. I think it's called Single Take.
It is called Single Take.
Yeah, which is a camera mode essentially where you press the button and it will take pictures in a variety, pictures and video in a variety of different mediums. So things like boomerangs, things like black and white, like it will just use everything at the same time, and then you'll have a big selection like an Instagram feed sort of thing, where you've got little video clips, and like we've got an example of it in our Galaxy S20 hands-on video. And yeah, I think that's kind of that scenario. Like I think for example, if you're filming a dog or something like that, you're probably not going to get a great shot immediately. You're going to be sat there filming it for a good 5 minutes, or taking photos for 5 minutes. With this mode, I think you might actually be able to get something where they jump in the air or something, and you get that kind of moment as well as getting the nice picture.
Because with this mode, you don't press it to take a picture, you press and hold it, and it tells you to take a little video where you move around a little bit, and it will go through that, deciding, oh, this is the best shot of your pet cat that you've been just grumpy and ignoring you for half of them, but this is the one picture where it looks good.
Yeah, well, let's do one more question on the camera. We had loads about the camera, but Ryan Vass asked, comparing to the iPhone 11 Pro, how is the camera from the S20? We've kind of touched on that a little bit, I think, but how would you rate it compared to the iPhone?
On which Samsung Galaxy phone, sorry?
They say the S20.
On the S20, as I've never used an iPhone, I'm sure I'm not never used an iPhone 11, so I'm probably not the best person.
So I've used the Pro a tiny amount, and again, I think the ease of use would probably be the number one thing there. That in terms of both of these phones are going to give you incredible shots just from giving that one shot, and single take is probably the way forward with the Samsung. But you're probably also not going to be switching between those two phones because of camera quality. You're probably going to have a lot of allegiance in terms of whether you like iOS more or you like Android more, that kind of thing. That's probably more important here than the camera quality.
At least on paper, I'm sure the zoom camera of the Samsung phone is pretty impressive as well. So even on the cheap ones, it's 3 times optical, 30 times digital, and it's a 64 megapixel camera on that as well. So it is going to look pretty incredible for zoom. I'm not sure there is another zoom camera in a phone out there with that high resolution combined with that kind of zoom.
No.
Red Sea 1106 asked battery life. We can't really talk about that yet, can we?
We can't, but we can kind of speculate, I'm sure. And I'm a little bit worried about the battery life. So just for reference, for the S20, it's 4,000 milliamps.
Yep.
Then up 500 for the Plus and another 500 for the Ultra. But one of the main selling points of those phones is the display. So you can do 120 hertz. There's WQHD, not at the same time. You can't toggle them both at the same time. So screen fans might not love that. But there is a lot of top-end screen quality things here, and they might be quite a drag on the battery life. So I'm a little bit worried to see if it will be 2 days or might just last you through a day, especially in the 6.9 inch Ultra. I'd be surprised if that lasts a day, honestly.
The S10 series did have genuinely good battery life, so hopefully the processor improvements and all that kind of stuff on the back end, and also slightly bigger batteries, not by much, but slightly bigger batteries should hopefully help. We won't really know that for probably at least another few weeks until we've done a full review of each of the phones. And again, the Ultra is that massive 5,000 milliamp battery, so hopefully that's the one that lasts.
Yeah.
Hopefully 3 days.
Well, I'd be surprised since cheap phones do not last 2 days.
Yeah. So we've got another question here, which is how long until it is released? Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, it depends where you live, honestly. It's staggered by the sounds of it around the world. So, for example, in the US, it's the March the 6th, I believe. But in the UK, where we are, it's the 13th.
Yeah, it seems like most countries are getting it March 6th. But yeah, if you're in the US, it's definitely March 6th. I think Australia as well is March 6th. I'm not 100% certain on that. But yeah, it's a little bit of a wait, really, considering quite often these phones come out within 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. This is 3 weeks. But for us, it's the 13th. We saw the phone on the 11th of February. So it's over a month wait for us.
More than a month. Which would have been a problem since MWC might have brought some competitors, but we're saying this just 12 hours after MWC was cancelled, so there may not be any competitors coming out anymore.
We're not sure what's happening there.
Nice one, Samsung.
Yeah, you kind of know it there, Samsung. Another question is, what colours will it come out in? I'm not sure if you remember this, but I've got it ingrained in my memory now.
I do remember it, but I feel like you have it ingrained in your memory, so we need to make the most of that.
So there is cloud blue and cloud pink.
The pink, I believe, is just for the S20, the smaller one.
Yes, just for the S20. Right. So we've got a full article on TechRadar. If you Google Samsung Galaxy S20, or go into TechRadar search and put in Samsung Galaxy S20 colours, that'll talk you through them all. But then there's also a grey and a mirror black.
Yes, they're both on the Ultra, aren't they?
Both on the Ultra. Yeah. Depending on where you live, depends on what colours you'll get.
This is even more confusing than which ones have 5G and 4G in the different countries. Is what?
Have you read my questions?
No. Okay.
Because that's the next question.
Okay. Well, skip that. Different countries are going to have different combinations of colours on the different phones, and it's very confusing if we were to read them all out here. video would be about 2 hours long.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, as I say, go to TechRadar search and put in Samsung Galaxy S20 colours, and we've got a full article on that which talks you through each of the regions for US, UK and Australia, because it differs every single region. So yeah, let's move on to that next question then. So this is for Myronix. 5G and 4G version. 4G version, will it see 5G networks? So I think the question there is there a 5G version? Is there a 4G version? Can you talk us through that a little bit?
Well, the 4G and 5G versions are going to be identical, so it's not going to be like the S10 series where the 5G version is the best of the series. They're all going to be the same. It's the S20 and S20 Plus that are going to have 4G and 5G versions, but it's depending on which place you live where you might get one or the other or neither of them. So for example, in the UK, the S20, there is a 4G and a 5G version, but I know in the US there's only the 5G version. And we were looking at the different countries in Europe, for example, and which ones they're going to have available to them, and it's just very hard to figure out. They've all got different combinations available to them.
So most of the marketing and everything I've seen has been, they are still calling it the Samsung Galaxy S20 5G, for example, if it is the 5G variant. So that's kind of the way you'll be able to tell when you're looking around on Samsung's site, and it is relatively clear on Samsung's site for each market. But as Tom says, it's really difficult for us to be able to communicate that because it's so different in the UK, so different in the US. If you head to our hands-on reviews at the moment, we try and make it as clear as possible for US, UK and Australia, but for other markets, you're going to really have to head to Samsung's site, really. The next question is a bit of a pain point for some people. Does it have a headphone jack?
No.
There you go. That's your question. So I did ask about this. I was speaking to someone from Samsung, and I was asking about this. They basically see that they got rid of it on the Note 10 series, and that's kind of it, really. I'm hoping getting rid of the headphone jack that's how they've managed to increase the battery size here that little bit, and they've managed to include 5G components do actually take up a lot of space within a phone. So that's probably why that's missing from this. But also, Samsung were probably one of the last big manufacturers to take it off of their flagship series. Yeah, so there's kind of a little bit of respect there for that, but also if you really love your headphone jack, you're not.
Well, you've got a bit of insight into what's in the box in that regard, haven't you, as well?
I do, yes. So quite often when manufacturers have got rid of the headphone jack, so for example, Apple with the iPhone 7, when they first did that, they included an adapter in the box, which was Lightning to 3.5mm headphone jack, so you can just use that to plug in your headphones. There will not be one of those in the Samsung Galaxy S20 box. That's definitely confirmed for the UK. I think that's worldwide. I would imagine they wouldn't do that in any markets if that's the decision they've made. You can buy one from Samsung. I'm not exactly certain how much that will cost. I know Apple's cost around £10, $10. So yeah, if you want that one that's definitely going to work with your Samsung device, buy one from Samsung. But yeah, a bit of a pain that's not in the box.
If you pre-order the phones, I believe in some regions you do get the Galaxy Buds Plus, and I feel it's probably Samsung trying to get as many people as possible on board for their true wireless headphones.
Definitely, and yeah, I personally would recommend true wireless headphones in that way, and I use this original Galaxy Buds quite a bit, and they work so well with that phone. But yeah, if you're a true audiophile and you want that wired experience, you're going to have to buy an adapter, basically. And for our final question, we're going to head slightly back to the camera again. Maybe we should have tackled this one earlier with Samsung's... Samsung, I've forgotten the name of it now, Single Take. So Ninja Panda on Twitter has asked, on the iPhone 11 Pro, there's an app called Double Take to let you record unlimited video from two different lenses at once. So it creates two separate videos. Can the S20 range do this? And is Samsung's Quick Take a similar kind of feature?
So the Quick Take, the Single Take, as it's actually called, is not a similar feature. The mode that's referred to on the iPhone there was something they advertised in the launch events. I believe they showed it through Filmic Pro, but I'm sure multiple apps can do it. So it's worth pointing out that's not a feature of the iPhone, that's a feature of the iPhone app. So it's very plausible that a company could bring along a similar app that does the same thing on the Samsung Galaxy S20 series. As far as I'm aware, there's not an app that can do that on Android phones now, but there could well be that I'm not aware of, and it's something that could easily be created, I'm sure.
Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to check out the rest of the channel, and you can see our full Samsung Galaxy S20 hands-on video there.
Make sure to like and subscribe if you like this. We're going to be doing more videos like this for upcoming phones in the future, so check back if there's anything you want to know about them.
Bye.